Introduction. Joseph Nguyen begins his book Don't Believe Everything You Think by guiding the reader through a profound exploration of the nature of thought. He suggests that our thoughts are not always accurate reflections of reality. Instead, they are often shaped by past experiences, fears, and societal conditioning. Nguyen emphasizes that most of us live in a state of mental conditioning where we accept our thoughts as absolute truths without questioning their validity. Nguyen points out that our minds are constantly generating thoughts, but these thoughts are not necessarily factual. They are often interpretations, judgments, or projections of what we believe to be true. For example, if someone has had a negative experience in the past, they might carry that experience into their present thinking, allowing it to color their perception of current situations. This can lead to a distorted view of reality, where the individual believes their thoughts are an accurate reflection of the world around them. He explains that this mental conditioning begins early in life. As children, we are like sponges, absorbing information and beliefs from our parents, teachers, and society. These beliefs form the foundation of our thinking, shaping how we view ourselves and the world. Over time, these beliefs become ingrained in our minds, and we start to accept them as absolute truths. For instance, if a child is repeatedly told that they are not good enough, they may grow up believing this to be true, even if there is no objective evidence to support it. Nguyen introduces the idea that much of what we think is an illusion. Our thoughts are often based on interpretations of events rather than the events themselves. He uses the example of two people witnessing the same event, but having completely different reactions based on their individual thoughts and beliefs. This illustrates how our thoughts can create different versions of reality, depending on how we interpret what is happening around us. He further explains that our thoughts are influenced by the mind's tendency to label and categorize everything we experience. This habit of labeling leads to a separation between the self and the world, creating a dualistic way of thinking. For example, when we label something as good or bad, we are imposing a judgment on it based on our thoughts and beliefs. This judgment then influences how we feel about the situation and how we respond to it. Nguyen suggests that this way of thinking limits our ability to see things as they truly are without the filter of our thoughts. Nguyen also discusses the role of fear in shaping our thoughts. He argues that many of our thoughts are driven by fear, whether it is fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown. These fear-based thoughts often lead to negative emotions and behaviors, such as anxiety, stress, and self-doubt. For example, if someone is afraid of failing, they may develop thoughts that convince them they are not capable of succeeding, leading them to avoid taking risks or trying new things. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the person's thoughts shape their reality in a negative way. The author emphasizes that just because we think something, it does not mean it is true. He encourages readers to question their thoughts and not take them at face value. Nguyen suggests that by examining our thoughts and recognizing the influence of past experiences, fears, and societal conditioning, we can begin to see through the illusions created by our minds. This process of self-inquiry can help us break free from the limitations imposed by our thoughts and lead to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Throughout the introduction, Nguyen invites readers to consider the possibility that their thoughts are not always reliable indicators of reality. He urges them to become more aware of the nature of their thoughts and how they influence their perception of the world. By doing so, readers can begin to detach from their thoughts and see them for what they truly are, mental constructs rather than absolute truths. Nguyen's approach to understanding the nature of thought is deeply influenced by his background in spiritual teachings and mindfulness practices. He draws on these influences to help readers cultivate a greater awareness of their thoughts and develop a more mindful relationship with their minds. Nguyen's teachings are grounded in the belief that true peace and happiness come from within, and that by understanding the nature of thought, we can begin to access this inner peace. In the introduction, Nguyen also touches on the importance of mindfulness as a tool for observing and understanding our thoughts. He suggests that by practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of the thoughts that arise in our minds and begin to see them as passing phenomena rather than truths. This awareness allows us to create space between ourselves and our thoughts, giving us the freedom to choose how we respond to them. The author also highlights the role of societal conditioning in shaping our thoughts. He explains that society often imposes certain beliefs and values on us, which we then internalize and accept as our own. These societal influences can lead to thoughts that are not aligned with our true selves, causing inner conflict and distress. Nguyen encourages readers to question the beliefs and values they have inherited from society and to seek their own truth, rather than blindly accepting the thoughts imposed on them by external influences. One of the key messages of the introduction is that we have the power to change our thoughts and, by extension, our reality. Nguyen believes that by becoming aware of the nature of thought and questioning the validity of our thoughts, we can begin to reshape our thinking in a way that is more aligned with our true selves. This shift in thinking can lead to a more authentic and fulfilling life, free from the limitations of mental conditioning. Nguyen's writing is clear and accessible, making complex concepts about the nature of thought and reality easy to understand. His approach is both practical and philosophical, offering readers insights into the workings of the mind as well as practical tools for applying these insights in their daily lives. In summary, the introduction of "Don't Believe Everything You Think" sets the stage for the rest of the book by exploring the nature of thought and how it influences our perception of reality. Nguyen challenges readers to question their thoughts and not accept them as absolute truths. By doing so, readers can begin to see through the illusions created by their minds and move towards a more peaceful and fulfilling life. This introduction provides a foundation for the deeper exploration of thought that follows in the subsequent chapters of the book. Chapter 1, The Mind's Deception. In Chapter 1 of Don't Believe Everything You Think, the focus is on how our beliefs shape and often distort our perception of reality. The chapter delves into how our beliefs are formed, how they influence our view of the world, and the role cognitive biases play in this process. The chapter begins by examining how beliefs are formed. Our beliefs often originate from early life experiences, societal influences, and the information we absorb from our surroundings. These beliefs create a mental framework through which we interpret new information. However, this framework is not always accurate or objective. Instead, it can lead to a skewed understanding of reality. For instance, if someone grows up in an environment where they are repeatedly told they are not good enough, they may develop a belief in their own inadequacy. This belief filters their perceptions and judgments, causing them to interpret situations in a way that confirms this belief. As a result, their view of the world becomes distorted, aligning more with their pre-existing beliefs than with objective reality. Nguyen illustrates this point with a common example. Imagine a person who believes that others are generally untrustworthy. This belief might lead them to interpret neutral or ambiguous interactions as hostile or deceitful. They may notice instances that confirm their belief while ignoring evidence that contradicts it. This selective perception reinforces their original belief, creating a cycle that perpetuates their distorted view of reality. The chapter also addresses cognitive biases, systematic errors in thinking that affect our judgments and decisions. Cognitive biases are a natural part of human cognition, but can lead to significant distortions in how we understand and interact with the world. Nguyen outlines several key cognitive biases and how they contribute to misunderstandings. One such bias is confirmation bias. This is the tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs while ignoring information that challenges them. For example, if someone believes that they are unlucky, they are likely to focus on events that reinforce this belief and dismiss any positive experiences as mere coincidences. This selective attention to confirming evidence strengthens their belief in their own misfortune, further distorting their perception of reality. Another cognitive bias discussed is the anchoring effect. This bias occurs when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive when making decisions. For example, if a person is told that a product is worth $100 and then sees it on sale for $80, they may perceive it as a great deal, even if the actual value of the product is much lower. The initial anchor price influences their judgment, leading to a distorted evaluation of the product's worth. Nguyen also explores the availability heuristic, which is the tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events based on their availability in memory. If someone frequently hears about car accidents in the news, they may perceive driving as more dangerous than it statistically is, leading to unnecessary fear and anxiety. This heuristic causes people to rely on readily available information rather than a comprehensive analysis of all relevant data. The chapter further examines how these cognitive biases and distorted beliefs create a lens through which we view the world, influencing our perceptions and interactions. For instance, if we have a belief that people are generally out to get us, we may interpret neutral or ambiguous behavior from others as hostile or threatening. This can lead to unnecessary conflict and stress, reinforcing our negative belief about people and perpetuating a cycle of distrust. Nguyen emphasizes that these biases and distortions are not always obvious because they operate at a subconscious level. People often believe that their perceptions are objective and accurate, not realizing that their judgments are influenced by cognitive biases and pre-existing beliefs. This lack of awareness can lead to misunderstandings and misconceptions that impact various aspects of life, from personal relationships to professional decisions. To counteract these distortions, Nguyen suggests becoming aware of our cognitive biases and questioning the validity of our beliefs. He encourages readers to examine their own thinking patterns and consider how their beliefs might be influencing their perceptions. By doing so, individuals can begin to recognize when their views are distorted and take steps to correct them. One practical approach Nguyen recommends is seeking out diverse perspectives and challenging our own assumptions. Engaging with people who have different viewpoints can help broaden our understanding and reduce the impact of cognitive biases. Additionally, practicing mindfulness and self-reflection can increase awareness of how our beliefs and biases shape our perceptions. Nguyen's exploration of beliefs and cognitive biases underscores the importance of critical thinking and self-awareness in achieving a more accurate understanding of reality. By recognizing and addressing these distortions, individuals can develop a clearer, more objective view of the world and make more informed decisions. In summary, Chapter 1 of Don't Believe Everything You Think delves into how our beliefs and cognitive biases shape our perception of reality. The chapter explains how beliefs are formed and how they filter our experiences, leading to a distorted view of the world. It also outlines various cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, anchoring effect, and availability heuristic, that contribute to misunderstandings and misconceptions. The chapter emphasizes the importance of becoming aware of these biases and questioning the validity of our beliefs to achieve a more accurate and objective understanding of reality. Chapter 2, The Power of Perception. In Chapter 2 of Don't Believe Everything You Think, the author explores how our perception actively shapes our reality. Perception is not just about observing the world, but interpreting it, influenced by our thoughts and beliefs. Positive, constructive thoughts lead to a more positive perception, while negative or fearful thoughts color our view with negativity. This process often happens automatically, without our conscious awareness. Perception is inherently subjective. Two people can experience the same event differently because each one's perception is shaped by their individual thoughts, beliefs, and experiences. For instance, one person might view a social gathering as enjoyable, while another finds it overwhelming. The difference lies in each person's interpretation of the event based on their mental state. Our perception can distort reality. When we believe something to be true, we seek evidence that supports that belief, regardless of its accuracy. Someone who thinks they are unlucky will notice every small mishap as proof of bad luck, overlooking positive events. This selective perception can create a distorted reality that feels very real to the individual. The concept of self-fulfilling prophecies is central to this chapter. If we see ourselves as capable and confident, we're more likely to act in ways that lead to success. Conversely, viewing ourselves as inadequate can cause us to avoid opportunities, reinforcing our negative self-perception. This cycle is challenging to break, as our perceptions continually shape our reality to confirm our existing beliefs. Mindfulness is highlighted as a key practice for becoming aware of how thoughts influence perception. By observing thoughts without getting caught up in them, we can see them as just thoughts, not absolute truths. This detachment allows us to choose which thoughts to entertain and which to let go, helping to shape a more positive and accurate perception of reality. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and noticing how our mind reacts to situations based on past experiences rather than the present moment. One practical exercise is to sit quietly and observe the thoughts that arise without judgment. This practice helps develop a sense of detachment and allows us to identify patterns in our thinking and how they affect our perception. External factors, such as media and societal norms, can also shape our perception. Constant exposure to negative news might lead us to view the world as dangerous, even if our personal experiences are different. The author encourages readers to be mindful of these influences and assess whether they reflect their true reality or are imposed perceptions. Cognitive reframing is another technique discussed, which involves changing how we perceive a situation to alter our experience of it. By viewing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats, we can shift our perception and emotional response, making a significant difference in how we handle situations. The chapter emphasizes that your perception is your reality, and your reality is what you make of it. This quote highlights our control over our life experience by choosing how we perceive the world. By being mindful and aware of our thoughts, we can actively create a reality that aligns with our true selves and desires. Practicing gratitude is suggested as a way to shift our perception towards positivity. Focusing on what we are grateful for trains our minds to notice the good in our lives rather than dwelling on the negative. This shift can improve our overall perception and resilience. The chapter underscores that we are not victims of our circumstances, but creators of our reality. Our perception is something we actively shape. By taking responsibility for our perception and becoming more mindful of our thoughts, we can craft a more positive, empowering reality aligned with our true nature. Embracing mindfulness and awareness helps unravel conditioned thinking and reveals deeper truths. Although changing perception requires consistent practice and patience, the rewards are significant, offering a more peaceful, joyful, and authentic life. Overall, this chapter reminds us that perception is an active process we can influence through mindfulness and awareness. Understanding and adjusting our perception allows us to align more closely with our true selves and desires, creating a more fulfilling reality. Chapter 3: The Illusion of Control. In Chapter 3 of Don't Believe Everything You Think, the focus is on how our desire to control every aspect of life leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety. The chapter explores why we try to control things and how this is tied to our ego and fears. The chapter starts by discussing the human tendency to control life's outcomes to feel secure. Many people meticulously plan their lives or try to influence others, but this need for control often backfires. The world is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control it only increases stress. For example, someone who attempts to control every aspect of their work may become anxious about things beyond their control, like colleagues' behavior or market conditions. The mismatch between their desire for control and life's uncertainty leads to frustration. True peace, the chapter argues, comes from accepting that we cannot control everything. Instead of resisting uncertainty, we should embrace it and let go of the need to control. This acceptance allows us to focus on what we can influence and respond more calmly to life's unpredictability. Letting go of control reduces anxiety and brings a sense of inner peace. A significant part of the chapter discusses the role of the ego in our need for control. The ego, driven by fear and insecurity, seeks to protect itself by controlling outcomes and manipulating situations. It creates a sense of separation from others, pushing us to maintain a facade of strength. When we feel threatened, the ego ramps up our attempts to control, which only leads to more frustration as it struggles with life's unpredictability. The chapter highlights that the ego's need for control is driven by underlying fears fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown. When the ego dictates our actions, we focus on avoiding these fears rather than genuinely engaging with life. This fear-driven control traps us in a cycle of managing every aspect of life to avoid discomfort, perpetuating stress and anxiety. To break free from this cycle, the chapter suggests recognizing and understanding the ego's influence. By becoming aware of how the ego drives our need for control, we can address the fears and insecurities that fuel it. This shift in awareness helps us focus on accepting uncertainty and influencing what we can. A key quote from the chapter is, "The more we try to control life, the more life controls us." This quote highlights the paradox of control. Our attempts to manage circumstances often increase stress and limit our freedom. True freedom comes from releasing the need to control and embracing life's natural flow. The chapter also offers practical ways to let go of control. One approach is mindfulness, which involves staying present and aware of our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. Mindfulness helps us observe our reactions to uncertainty and let go of the impulse to control, leading to a more balanced perspective and less stress. Another approach is acceptance, acknowledging what we cannot control and letting go of the need to change it. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up on goals, but rather focusing on our responses and attitudes. For example, in a challenging work situation, we can accept what we can't change and concentrate on constructive actions. The chapter also emphasizes developing resilience to manage uncertainty. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks and adapt to change. Building resilience equips us to handle life's unpredictability without falling into the trap of excessive control. This involves developing coping strategies like problem-solving skills and emotional regulation. In summary, Chapter 3 of Don't Believe Everything You Think explores how our desire for control leads to stress and anxiety. The chapter encourages letting go of control and embracing uncertainty as a path to peace. It examines how the ego drives our need for control, rooted in fears and insecurities. By practicing mindfulness, accepting what we cannot control, and building resilience, we can reduce stress and find greater peace in life's uncertainties. Chapter 4, The Impact of Negative Thinking. Chapter 4 of Don't Believe Everything You Think explores the impact of negative thinking and how it can create self-fulfilling prophecies. This concept refers to situations where our negative beliefs influence our actions, leading to the very outcomes we fear. For example, if someone constantly thinks they will fail an exam, they might not study as thoroughly or approach the exam with anxiety, increasing the likelihood of failure. Thus, the negative belief sets in motion behaviors that contribute to the feared outcome becoming reality. This cycle of negative thinking creates a feedback loop where the negative belief reinforces itself. The more we believe in a negative outcome, the more likely we are to act in ways that make that outcome come true. This not only affects our chances of success, but also impacts our self-esteem and overall mental health. A key point in the chapter is that negative thinking often stems from underlying fears and insecurities shaped by past experiences or societal conditioning. For instance, someone who has faced repeated rejection in relationships might believe they are unlovable. This belief can lead to behaviors that push others away, reinforcing the negative self-perception. To break this cycle, the chapter suggests several strategies. One is reframing negative thoughts. Instead of accepting negative thoughts as truths, we can challenge and reframe them in a more positive or realistic light. For example, the thought, "I always mess up," can be reframed as, "I have made mistakes, but I am capable of learning and improving." Another technique is focusing on positive outcomes and accomplishments. This involves shifting attention from negative thoughts to positive experiences. Keeping a gratitude journal is one way to practice this. By regularly noting things we are grateful for, we can counterbalance the effects of negative thinking and develop a more optimistic perspective. Self-compassion is also crucial in overcoming negative thinking. It involves treating ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a friend. Instead of harshly criticizing ourselves for failures, self-compassion encourages a more gentle and supportive approach, reducing self-judgment and fostering a positive self-image. The chapter highlights mindfulness as another tool to address negative thinking. Mindfulness involves observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. By gaining awareness of how negative thinking patterns develop, we can create a space between our thoughts and reactions, allowing for more thoughtful responses. One of the quotes from this chapter that illustrates the concept of self-fulfilling prophecies is, "Our beliefs shape our reality. When we expect negative outcomes, we act in ways that make those outcomes more likely." This underscores how our expectations can influence our actions and contribute to negative outcomes. Setting realistic and achievable goals is another important strategy discussed in the chapter. Negative thinking often arises when we set unrealistic goals that lead to feelings of inadequacy and failure. By setting attainable goals and breaking larger objectives into smaller steps, we can build confidence and reduce the likelihood of negative outcomes. The chapter concludes by emphasizing the value of seeking support from others. Engaging with a support network, such as friends, family, or a therapist, can provide valuable perspectives and encouragement. Supportive relationships can help challenge negative thinking patterns and offer reassurance during difficult times. Chapter 5, The Trap of Overthinking. Chapter 5 of Don't Believe Everything You Think explores the trap of overthinking and its impact on decision-making and action. Overthinking can paralyze us, making it difficult to act effectively. This chapter examines how excessive analysis leads to indecision and emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment. Overthinking happens when we become so fixated on analyzing every detail that we struggle to make decisions or take action. It often arises from a desire to make the perfect choice or avoid mistakes. However, this overanalysis can lead to paralysis, as we get stuck in a cycle of doubt and uncertainty. A significant concept discussed is analysis paralysis. This occurs when individuals are overwhelmed by too much information and too many possibilities, preventing them from making decisions. For example, someone might spend hours researching options for a purchase, but remain indecisive because they can't determine the best choice. This endless deliberation hinders progress. Overthinking can be more detrimental than beneficial. While considering various factors is important, excessive analysis usually increases stress and anxiety without improving outcomes. Overthinkers often revisit the same issues without making progress, leading to frustration and a lack of meaningful action. The more you think about something, the less you actually do, encapsulates this paradox. It highlights how thinking more about a problem often results in less action. By focusing too much on details and potential outcomes, we can overlook the importance of taking action and making progress. The chapter also addresses how overthinking involves dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Ruminating on past mistakes or fearing potential problems keeps us from engaging with the present moment. This preoccupation with what has already happened or what might happen prevents us from seizing current opportunities. Living in the present moment is crucial for overcoming overthinking. Staying present means focusing on what is happening now rather than getting lost in past regrets or future anxieties. Grounding ourselves in the present reduces the impact of overthinking and aids in making more effective decisions. Practicing mindfulness, observing our current thoughts and feelings without judgment, can help in this regard. Nguyen stresses the importance of taking action with the information we have rather than waiting for perfect conditions or more certainty. Waiting for the perfect moment or complete answers can lead to missed opportunities and ongoing indecision. Making decisions based on the best information available helps us move forward, reduces paralysis, and allows us to learn from our experiences. The chapter also highlights the need to accept that uncertainty is a natural part of life. Trying to eliminate all uncertainty through overthinking is often futile. By acknowledging that we cannot predict every outcome, we can focus on making decisions based on our values and priorities, rather than being immobilized by fear of the unknown. Practical strategies for managing overthinking include setting time limits for decision-making, allocating a specific time frame to evaluate options, and then committing to a choice can prevent endless deliberation. Once the time is up, taking action helps balance careful consideration with the need to move forward. Engaging in present-focused activities like exercise, meditation, or spending time in nature can also help manage overthinking. These activities shift our focus away from excessive analysis and promote clarity. Regularly incorporating such practices into our routine enhances our ability to stay present and manage overthinking. Seeking support from others can counteract overthinking. Discussing decisions with trusted friends, family, or mentors can offer valuable perspectives and clarity. Talking through concerns with others can reveal new insights and alleviate the burden of overthinking. In summary, Chapter 5 of Don't Believe Everything You Think addresses the trap of overthinking and its impact on decision making. The chapter explores how overthinking leads to analysis paralysis and emphasizes the importance of living in the present. By focusing on the present, accepting uncertainty, and using practical strategies to manage overthinking, we can make more effective decisions and take meaningful actions. Chapter 6, The Power of Letting Go. Chapter 6 of Don't Believe Everything You Think delves into the power of letting go, emphasizing how acceptance and non-attachment can lead to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The chapter begins by discussing the importance of letting go to achieve peace and contentment. The author argues that inner peace comes from releasing the need to control outcomes and accepting things as they are. Fixating on what we lack or striving for what could be often leads to frustration and dissatisfaction. Instead, embracing acceptance of the present moment can bring a sense of tranquility. Acceptance is central to this chapter. It involves acknowledging and embracing the current state of affairs without resistance, recognizing that some aspects of life are beyond our control. Clinging to the desire for things to be different only causes unnecessary stress. For instance, facing a difficult situation at work might lead to initial resistance, but acceptance allows for more constructive responses and greater peace. The chapter emphasizes that acceptance is not about giving up, but about recognizing reality and approaching life with openness and clarity. Letting go of the need to change what cannot be changed frees us from constant striving, allowing us to find contentment in the present moment. As the author puts it, peace comes not from changing the world, but from accepting it as it is. Non-attachment is another key concept in this chapter. It involves detaching from our thoughts and emotions, allowing them to come and go without being overly affected by them. This means recognizing that our thoughts and feelings are temporary and do not define us. Practicing non-attachment helps us avoid being overwhelmed by emotions and allows us to respond more calmly. For example, experiencing anger or sadness can be acknowledged without letting it control our actions or state of mind, helping maintain inner balance. Mindfulness and meditation are practical ways to practice non-attachment. Mindfulness involves observing thoughts and feelings without judgment, letting them pass through awareness without becoming overly involved. Meditation can help cultivate non-attachment by training the mind to remain focused and centered, even in the face of strong emotions or distractions. The chapter also explores how non-attachment can enhance relationships. When we are not overly attached to expectations or desires, we can interact with others more authentically and compassionately. Non-attachment helps us avoid projecting our needs onto others, leading to more genuine and fulfilling connections. For example, not being overly attached to how others should behave allows us to appreciate them for who they are. The author emphasizes that letting go and practicing non-attachment can lead to greater freedom and happiness. By releasing the need to control outcomes and accepting the ebb and flow of thoughts and emotions, we create space for a more serene life. This freedom comes from understanding that true well-being is not dependent on external circumstances, but on an inner state of acceptance and balance. Practical suggestions for cultivating acceptance and non-attachment in daily life include regularly practicing gratitude, which shifts focus from what we lack to what we have, fostering a sense of contentment. Self-reflection and self-compassion also help us understand and accept our thoughts and emotions without judgment. In summary, Chapter 6 of Don't Believe Everything You Think explores the power of letting go through acceptance and non-attachment. By embracing the present moment and detaching from thoughts and emotions, we can find greater peace and fulfillment. These principles allow us to navigate life's challenges with calmness and clarity, creating a more balanced and contented existence. Chapter 7, The Practice of Self-Inquiry. Chapter 7 of Don't Believe Everything You Think delves into self-inquiry, a practice designed to help individuals discern their true selves from their thoughts. This chapter highlights how questioning the validity of our thoughts can lead to inner peace by detaching from mental constructs. Self-inquiry involves scrutinizing our thoughts to determine their accuracy rather than accepting them as truths. By exploring the origins and validity of our thoughts, we challenge and understand them better. For example, if someone thinks, "I am not good enough," self-inquiry would ask, "Is this thought true? What evidence supports or contradicts it?" This process clarifies whether our thoughts are founded on reality or merely on past experiences and beliefs. The chapter emphasizes, not all thoughts are facts. By questioning our thoughts, we uncover the truth beneath the surface. This suggests that thoughts often stem from assumptions rather than reality. Self-inquiry helps in revealing these assumptions and distinguishing between genuine truths and mental fabrications. Self-inquiry also aids in differentiating between our true self and our thoughts. Our true self is constant and unchanging, while thoughts are transient and fluctuating. Through self-inquiry, individuals can recognize that they are not their thoughts. Thoughts come and go, but the true self remains unaffected. For instance, if someone feels anxious about an upcoming event, self-inquiry would involve questioning the source of this anxiety. Why am I anxious? Is this anxiety based on past experiences or future fears? This process helps individuals see that anxiety is a mental construct rather than an inherent part of who they are. The chapter also underscores that self-inquiry can lead to inner peace by helping individuals detach from their thoughts. Identifying with thoughts can entangle individuals in emotions and reactions. By observing and questioning thoughts without attachment, one can create a distance that allows for a more balanced perspective and reduces the impact of negative thoughts. Another important quote is, "When we stop identifying with our thoughts, we find a space of calm and clarity within ourselves." This highlights that inner peace arises from recognizing thoughts are not definitive aspects of our identity. By distancing ourselves from thoughts, we access a deeper sense of calm and clarity. Practical techniques for self-inquiry include asking probing questions about thoughts. For example, if a thought of unworthiness arises, one can ask, "What is the source of this belief? How does it serve me? Is there evidence against this thought?" This approach provides insight into the nature of thoughts and their effects on emotions and behavior. Journaling is another effective technique. Writing down and reflecting on thoughts helps clarify their nature and validity. Journaling externalizes thoughts, making them easier to analyze. It also helps identify recurring patterns and understand their origins and impacts. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in self-inquiry. Being present and aware of one's thoughts and feelings without judgment allows individuals to engage in self-inquiry with a clear, open mind. Mindfulness helps in recognizing when thoughts are based on assumptions or fears rather than objective reality. In summary, Chapter 7 of Don't Believe Everything You Think explores self-inquiry as a path to inner peace. By questioning the validity of thoughts and distinguishing between mental constructs and reality, individuals gain clarity and lessen the impact of negative thoughts. Self-inquiry helps detach from thoughts and connect with a deeper, unchanging sense of self. Techniques like questioning, journaling, and mindfulness foster a more peaceful and balanced inner state. Chapter 8, The Role of Meditation. In Chapter 8 of Don't Believe Everything You Think, meditation is highlighted as a crucial tool for managing and understanding thoughts. The chapter emphasizes how meditation can calm the mind, provide clarity, and offers practical advice on establishing a regular practice. Meditation is introduced as an effective way to observe thoughts without becoming entangled in them. Regular practice helps individuals become more aware of their thought patterns and manage them more efficiently. One major benefit of meditation is its ability to quiet the mind. Amid daily distractions and mental clutter, meditation offers a space to pause and detach from incessant thoughts. By practicing focused attention and mindfulness, meditation reduces mental noise and fosters tranquility. The chapter outlines several meditation techniques. Mindfulness meditation is one such method where practitioners focus on their breath or a specific object while observing their thoughts and sensations without judgment. This technique enhances present moment awareness and helps prevent getting lost in thought. Loving kindness meditation is another technique discussed. This practice involves generating feelings of compassion and kindness towards oneself and others. It promotes a positive mental environment and helps mitigate negative thought patterns by shifting focus from stress to positivity and acceptance. Guided meditation, where individuals follow instructions from a meditation teacher or recording, is also covered. This technique is particularly beneficial for beginners or those who struggle to meditate independently, as it provides structure and guidance. A key quote from the chapter is, "Meditation is not about escaping thoughts, but about learning to observe them with clarity and calm." This emphasizes that meditation is not about eliminating thoughts, but about developing the ability to manage and observe them without becoming overwhelmed. Building a consistent meditation practice is crucial. The chapter offers practical tips for establishing and maintaining a routine. Starting with short sessions and gradually increasing their length can make meditation more approachable for beginners. Creating a dedicated, quiet space for meditation and setting a regular time each day helps in forming a lasting habit. Consistency is vital for making meditation a routine part of daily life. The chapter also suggests using meditation apps or resources, which can provide guided sessions, timers, and variety. These tools can make meditation more engaging and structured. Patience and persistence are emphasized as essential for developing a meditation practice. It is normal for the mind to wander, and the practice involves gently returning focus to the breath or chosen point of attention without frustration. Over time, maintaining focus and managing thoughts will improve. In summary, Chapter 8 of Don't Believe Everything You Think presents meditation as a powerful means to gain mental clarity and manage thoughts. By exploring various techniques like mindfulness, loving kindness, and guided meditation, and offering practical advice on building a consistent practice, the chapter underscores how integrating meditation into daily life can enhance awareness and thought management. Conclusion. In the conclusion of Don't Believe Everything You Think, the author consolidates the book's lessons and encourages readers to adopt a fresh perspective on their thoughts. This chapter synthesizes the key concepts discussed and calls for a mindful approach to questioning limiting beliefs. The conclusion begins by summarizing the book's core ideas. It emphasizes that thoughts are not always accurate reflections of reality, but are shaped by past experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Understanding this can help cultivate a healthier mindset. Integrating these lessons into daily life is crucial. This involves applying insights about the nature of thoughts, practicing self-inquiry, and embracing concepts like surrender and non-attachment. By adopting these practices, we can gain a clearer perspective and navigate life with greater ease. A significant point is the need to regularly question our beliefs and assumptions. The book advocates for examining the validity of our thoughts to identify and challenge limiting beliefs. This process of questioning creates space for new perspectives and supports personal growth. As the book states, questioning your beliefs is the first step towards freeing yourself from the constraints they impose. Mindfulness also plays a key role. By being present and aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment, we can better understand our thought patterns and their impact on our emotions and behavior. This awareness helps in making more conscious choices and responding with greater clarity and calm. Another important aspect discussed is the need to see thoughts as temporary and changeable rather than fixed truths. By shifting our perspective, we can reduce the influence of negative or unhelpful thoughts and approach life with a more balanced mindset. As highlighted in the book, adopting a new perspective on your thoughts can transform the way you experience life, leading to greater peace and fulfillment. The chapter concludes by inviting readers to take action. This means implementing practices like meditation, self-inquiry, and surrender into daily life. Engaging in these practices can lead to improved mental clarity and emotional resilience. The author also emphasizes the importance of being patient and compassionate with oneself. Personal growth is a gradual process, and approaching it with openness and kindness is essential for lasting change. In summary, the conclusion of Don't Believe Everything You Think reinforces the book's key concepts and stresses the importance of integrating these lessons into daily life. It encourages readers to question their beliefs, adopt a new perspective on their thoughts, and practice mindfulness. By taking these steps, individuals can enhance their clarity, peace, and fulfillment. The chapter serves as a call to action for making these practices a regular part of life to support overall well being and personal growth.